chance? I don't see Brad.
He is here.
Hey, Brad Chandler, my happiness champion. Hold on. Before we introduce Brad to you, let me tell you about Brad, right? Like Brad is like he's that guy that you wanted to be like when you were a kid, that you wanted to grow up. You're like, man, if I could be that cool guy when I grow up, I'm gonna be Brad Chandler. That's who Brad Chandler is to me. I'm still striving for that. Hello, Brad. How are you, sir?
I'm pretty awesome. Other than at 52 years old, I think I just developed allergies yesterday and they're kicking my butt. I have a newfound appreciation for people who struggle with allergies. Whew.
I have allergies at the same time of the year as well. In fact, I have my medicine with me somewhere. I didn't even know if I was going to need it. It's the pine trees for me.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the introduction. I don't know how cool I am. I'm certainly happy, and that's probably more important than cool.
Happy's more. I agree with that. Happy's more important than cool. So Brad's going to talk to us about building an organization, and let's just give you a little bit of a summary about Brad. He has one of the largest home buying organizations in the world, and they invest. They do some wholesaling. They do some fix and flips. I think he probably do some buy and holds as well. But just a really incredible organization. Um, Two questions, Matt. Not Matt. Oh my goodness gracious! Dude. I'm running on fumes here. Sorry, Brad. Sorry, Brad.
No problem.
Matt was all right. So, two questions, Brad. I almost called you Matt again. How long have you had? So, Express Home Buyers is the name of his business. They're in Northern Virginia. I know that you've done other areas as well, but I think you're primarily in Virginia now. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, we kind of cover, I mean, we do nationwide, but
Sure.
we bought and sold over 5,000 houses, and 90% of them have been from, say, Baltimore to Fredericksburg to West Virginia to like the Eastern Shore.
Okay. So 5,000 properties, right? Like that's a bunch of properties. Would you guys all agree with that? Yeah. Okay. So 5,000 properties. Now, how many hours a week? And I know that this may come and go, right? There's fits and starts. Do you work in your business today?
So, 5 years ago, I went through a major life transformation, trying to help my son with anxiety. In a 3 hour, I went to see this Navy SEAL, and in this 3 hour um, kind of thing exercise he put me through, my life forever changed. And I came back and I started telling my story, and people were like, "Man, you're better than my therapist." So I started studying under some of the world's best people, and I was like, "This is why God put me here." So up until March of last year, March of April, for about 3 years prior to that. I was working about an hour a week in my company because I was helping people transform their lives by reprogramming the crap that is programmed into us in childhood. So
Okay.
now today I'm back in
Yeah.
um, real estate. As you know, probably last year was one of the toughest years we've been in business. So I'm back probably working 30 hours, but I'm just a completely different human being now with the way that I see the world and how I've done some internal healing.
I love that, Brad. So between 1 and 30 hours a week, 5,000 homes bought and sold. You guys
Yes.
hear that? Now, what allows for you to do that?
People and systems.
People and systems. Okay. And so that's what we're going to talk about today is people and systems. So this is building an organization so that you can be able to get the support around you so that you can be able to achieve whatever it is that is your goal. Now remember, I don't want anybody here looking at Brad and having like a disconnect of, well, Brad is like on the top of the mountain. We're all human beings. Okay. Brad is just another guy. Right. Like I'm telling you that his friend, he's a special guy, right? We're all special. Okay. And I would say that about anybody here. I'd say she's a special lady, right? But he's just a guy.
I'm so
All right.
special that I got 970 on my SAT scores, and I had a 2.79 GPA in high school. That's how special
That's a different type of special, Brad, but we'll leave that one alone here for now.
I
So
am.
let's talk about building an organization, building the support, building the systems to be able to allow for you to have a massive business with a minimum. And I know at the beginning it was different than, as you grew, right? But a massive business where at some point it's sort of like, it's running itself. And then, when things get tough, you step back in, but you step back in as this really amazing person who you are. So what allows, like, talk us through that. Walk
Yeah,
us through some like specifics.
I mean, business isn't complicated. We complicate it. So I was just on a call with the guy who we've partnered with. We started a new LLC, and we're trying to create an innovative real estate platform. And this gentleman, I mean, he's like on a whole nother level. He's in a whole nother stratosphere. He's like sold companies to PayPal. And oh my gosh, the way he goes about it. So we had lucid charts and he's drawn out high level our entire organization, meaning like you do this and then you do this and you do this. And there's only probably about 40 boxes on there. And then the next time we'll take every area of our business and drill down deep. And then the third level is actually everything that we do. You don't need a lucid chart. You don't need a guy who sold his company to PayPal. I had a mentor tell me, grab a freaking legal pad and literally write, okay, here's how you deal with an incoming lead. Here's what you say. Here's how you answer the phone. Here's the next step. That's how you do it. You literally just sit there and write out what you do. So when you hire the person, you hire to that. And then when you train them, you've already got everything. It's not that hard. Whatever you're doing in your business right now, just write it down.
Document what you're doing, or get somebody else to document what you're doing.
Sure.
Right? Like you could get a virtual assistant. That's one of my recommendations that I go through and teach to sell is if you're newer in business, your first hire should be an administrative support. And I recommend to do that virtually. And the first job that I gave one of my virtual assistants at the beginning was you hang out with me for 2 weeks and you write down every freaking thing that I do. Right? Like I'll leave you out here when I use the restroom, but outside that, you're gonna be live on the phone with me. Okay. And I'd go into an appointment, they're there and they're listening in it. Right. And they're literally documenting every single freaking thing that yeah, someone's transcribing this call right now, right? So we've got technology right now that can allow for us to be able to do that we didn't have when I started business, and neither did Brad. And so step one is document it, right? Now you're starting to put a blueprint together. What's next?
Well, so I can go back 23 years ago when I started this business, 22 years ago, and I can remember it was myself and my partner Judd Allen who not many partnerships last that long. Most marriages don't last that long. Ours has, and it's like amazing. We have the best relationship, thank God. I remember I came in one day 22 years ago, and I was like, why are we doing the same thing? I was like, we can't continue to do the same thing there's only two of us. So here, I'm going to take on sales. You're going to get the houses sold and constructed and deal with the financing. I'm going to do the sales and the marketing. So we split it, right? And then Gary Keller, what does he say? The first person you should hire should be an admin because if not, you're going to be doing, it was back then $15, $20 an hour, but now with VAs, $3, $4, $5 an hour job. So why not give someone that can do those? So that's what I did. I hired an admin, and then the next person was a salesperson. You just have to look and say, what is the next potential hire I can hire that will allow me to do the high dollar activities.
I love it. And you mentioned Gary Keller. I had a conversation with him once, and this was about one of his CEOs. I'm not going to mention the CEO's name because at least I don't want to. But he was talking to about one of his CEOs, and he had a conversation with the CEO, and he was basically with the CEO. He said, "Look, what are you going to do? Are you going to do sales, or are you going to make sure that this business runs like it's supposed to? Because you
Yeah,
can't do both." And the
yeah,
CEO told him was like, "I'm going to do both." Now that CEO got fired. That's the reason why I didn't want to tell you his name. Okay, but what Brad just said, I want to make sure that you guys don't miss that. Now you may or may not be in a position right now where you're able to bring in a partner or whatever the case may be, but I just want to put it into your awareness that that's an opportunity. That there's two very very different jobs of being the sales and marketing person and driving the business versus being the implementer of the business, like getting stuff done. You can tell when I'm tired, my language gets lazy. Getting stuff done.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Now let's say, Brad, if you don't have that partner like you do with amazing the partner like Judd for 23 years, and you're that one person, what do you say to that person?
Well, I think it's again, I think you got to hire the admin because you're likely doing 10 to $15 an hour task and you're not worth 10 to $15 an hour. This gets into beliefs, which I don't know if we're getting into or
My bad.
what's that?
No,
Five
go, Brad. Sorry.
like beliefs are everything. Like I when I went through this transformation for 47 years, my belief was that I'm not enough, I'm stupid, I can't do this. Even though I made millions, I also lost millions. So you have to have the belief that you're not worth 10 or $15 an hour no matter what anyone tells you. Everyone on this call is probably worth between somewhere between $100 an hour and $2,000 an hour. When you start believing that, then you're going to say, well, what am I doing? Like, going to order shopping supplies or dealing with the copier guy or whatever it is. So yeah, hire that person. And then what I did is I hired an acquisition person because like you said, I couldn't be the sales guy and run the company. So I went out and hired home buying specialists. And then I went and hired a marketing firm or director of marketing. So yeah, it's not super complicated. Again, we tend to complicate things.
Yeah. And something I'm going to make a recommendation because sometimes I find that when we get to these conversations, sometimes we have this, and I'm just going to throw it out there. So I'm not saying this to be offensive to anybody, right? Yet sometimes we have a limited belief, a limiting belief. All right. And we think like, well, I can't do that for whatever reason, fill in the blank, right? I don't have the money to hire a virtual assistant. I don't have the money to hire somebody to come clean my house or to have somebody come mow my lawn or whatever the case may be. It's okay. What I want you to replace that limiting belief with I want you to replace it with an awareness. So from this moment, from this time moving forward, I want everybody here to just have an awareness of am I doing $10 or $15 work or am I doing $200 to $2,000 an hour work? And it doesn't matter. No judgment on that. Just recognize it. And now as you recognize it, write it down. And then at the end of the day, you recognize that, man, I did a lot of $10 an hour work today. All right. No judgment. It's just simply having the awareness. Now, I promise you, you'll start finding ways to start scaling that off and leveraging it up. I guarantee it. Okay. But you have to have the awareness first. Would you agree with that, Brad?
100%. I mean, all change begins with awareness. You can't change what you're not aware of. And then change usually comes from desperation or inspiration. So hopefully today, through Dan and my talk, you'll be inspired because there's nothing you can't achieve. Dan said some people have limiting beliefs. I'm going to go out on a limb and say 99.9% of people have
Or
limiting,
100%.
or they have subconscious stuff in their mind, like I was saying, I'm not enough, I can't do this, or so many until till this day, I have come a long way, but I still find myself, getting in a pickleball tournament and getting nervous. That's all around fear of judgment. You don't want to get up on a stage, you get nervous when someone calls your name in a crowd and you have to present. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just your mind doing what it should. It's preventing you from something it thinks is dangerous. And that's all around the fear of judgment. So if you can be aware of that, and this type of stuff, by the way, Dan, I've got a podcast that's ranked in the top 2% worldwide called How to Be Happier for Entrepreneurs. So if you're struggling with relationships or food or just a shitty business or cash flow issues, go check out this podcast because it might be a life-changing thing for you.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. Brad, as we get to the end of our conversation here, what's talking about organization building, talking about being able to scale, talking to be able to focus on that 200 to $2,000 an hour work and activity. What bit of nugget that maybe we haven't already talked about would you leave us with about how you can be able to grow your organization in a way that you can be able to spend more time doing the things that you love doing? What advice do you have for us?
I mean, it's maybe a cliche, but it's focus. I know for so long I focused on the wrong things. I would actually come into the office for years and like spend 3 or 4 hours on email. I mean, I you could argue that's a $10 to $15 an hour task because an admin could go through and just give you, your top three emails for the day. So just look at your business. This is what I do every day now. I look at my business and say, where can I make the biggest impact? What's the biggest lever that I can pull? And then go pull it. And if you can't pull it because you've got 60 other things to do, make sure those 60 other things are actually helping the business and that you even need to do them. And if you have to do them, then think, who can do this? And with the access to virtual assistants and now AI, man, guys, there's a lot of stuff you can pull off your plate and pull it off if it doesn't make a difference in your business. A lot of times people just do stuff and they don't ask. That's one of the things this gentleman on the call earlier said, the guy that sold to PayPal. He's like, when we do the exercise, when we get really detailed, every time we say something, we're going to say, why do we do that? We've got to explain to him, why is it that we do this? And if it's a bogus answer, then be like, all right, let's change it. Let's not do that. It's a waste of time.
Love it. Love it. So question what you're doing. Have an awareness. And that would be what I would like to leave everyone here with organization. I think Brad and I are aligned with that, which is have the awareness. And when you have the awareness, I promise you, you'll find the solutions. Brad, thank you so much. I love you to death, my man. I'm sure I'll see you soon. Ask you something real. Have you ever felt capable, smart, experienced, and still notice your income feels inconsistent? It's not a motivation problem, and it's not a hustle problem. It's a conversation problem. That gap between what you know you can do and other people's willingness to move forward is called the influence gap. And that's exactly what the Teach Yourself Book Ambassador Club is designed to close. It's not just a book club, it's a 5-week implementation experience that teaches you how trust actually forms in conversations and how decisions move forward without pressure. Week 1, you'll see why effort isn't the issue and why let me think about it really means there's no clarity. Week 2, you'll learn out why confidence doesn't come from personality, it comes from certainty. And certainty comes from being understood. Week 3, you'll learn language that creates safety instead of resistance, so pressure disappears naturally. Week 4, you'll stop selling altogether and learn how authority is earned by teaching, not convincing. And week 5, you'll end restart mode by installing daily habits that compound trust and protect consistent and predictable income. Here's the part most people miss. You're not just paying for coaching. You get full access to the CBI Digital Training Library, a $10,000 system built to make Teach to Sell stick. Not motivation, not hype, a framework that prevents slipping backwards. 5 minutes a week creates massive momentum. This is $29 for 5 weeks. Then an ongoing support if you choose to stay. Cancel anytime, no pressure, full transparency. If you're ready to replace selling with leadership, and if you want people to feel clear and safe saying yes, join us as a Teach to Sell Book Ambassador. This is where trust becomes consistent and predictable income. I'll see you inside.